When the storm will stop and the noise goes down, the lights go up in the middle of town. When the streets are gone and there's no...
Hey friends,
I'm JB,
and I'm Sarah.
and this is the Go Podcast.
When the storm will stop and the noise goes down, the lights go...
Well, hey everybody.
Hey friends.
We are really, really excited about this episode.
Yeah, it was super fun to record. I think you're gonna love it.
Yeah, we brought onto the show some good friends of ours.
Yes, Evan and Janelle Delagrange. They are a fantastic couple.
Yes.
They live in Fort Wayne, Indiana with their 4 kids. And they are some of the most adventurous people that I know.
They're adventurous and crazy talented.
They are crazy talented.
But just really, really good people.
Yep. So something you need to know about this episode, as we are in our early years of podcasting.
You said that really funny. Early years of podcasting.
I think if they saw my hand motion when I said it, they would really be into this moment.
We'll go with
that. So our early years of podcasting, our sound quality is not the best in this one.
We're learning. This is the first time we brought on a couple as guests via the interwebs. So we set up our Zoom chat and we recorded it, and Evan and Janelle's voices are just kind of quiet and ours are just kind of loud. So
I feel like you're going to have to turn it up, and I apologize because we might be screaming at you a little bit, but then you can hear the good stuff from Evan and Janelle.
Yeah, just pretend we're texting you in all caps, and
Yes.
Evan and Janelle are just texting you normally. But this brings us to a great point that if you are super smart and talented with podcast and audio,
And you'd like to be our friend.
and you would like to be our friend, or if you already are our friend and you would love to help us out,
We would love you forever.
that would be fun.
That would be really fun.
It would be.
Nice little recruiting pitch there. I
You
like
like
that.
that?
I did.
Anyway, we will stop rambling and we will turn it over to Evan and Janelle. And I'm positive that you're going to be just super blessed by hearing their story and what God's doing in their life and where they've come from and all that.
Yep, it's going to be great.
Enjoy. Hey guys, what's up? JB and Sarah here, and I'm super excited because we have some good friends of ours from Indiana, Evan and Janelle Delagrange. What's up,
We
guys?
love them.
Hey,
Thanks for joining us.
for sure. Definitely.
Thanks for
So,
making time in your schedule for us. We know how important you are.
yeah, after we get our kids to bed and have nothing else to do. So,
I think that's a really good point to make, that currently we have 7 children that should be asleep between us 2 couples. So that's kind of interesting. We have 2 of the 3. What'd you say, Janelle?
Sounds like ours are asleep, at least.
ours are not. 2/3 of ours are awake.
You're a better mom than me.
I think it should be noted that Evan and Janelle are recording from their garage.
Are they really? I didn't even know that. Is that
And
what
they
you're
have-
in your coat?
Winter coats.
Recording from a cabin.
Yeah, an exotic cabin in the woods of Canada.
You know, I feel even more love now knowing that you are sitting in your coats, not just because you feel like it, because
I told JB that this is how committed we are to you guys.
I feel loved.
Is your space heater working?
Yeah.
It said 42 a minute ago, and now it's 43. So
All right.
Success.
That's progress.
You guys are in 43 degrees.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Hey, they're setting the standard,
They are. It was
Love
almost
it.
It was almost 70 degrees in Georgia today.
Ooh, that's rough.
I know.
Yeah, it was really
wore
tough.
shorts.
I want to leave now. I'm done.
It
I
was-
don't want to.
Janelle's over it.
You got to break out my shorts. Felt great. It's 40 degrees warmer than it was. So
That's true.
where mentally it's about the same. It's comparable.
So
Almost.
so our friends Evan and Janelle, they are really cool people. They're the coolest people I know. Yeah.
Just
Was that a surprised face or was that a well
Finally,
duh.
recognition we deserve.
Oh yes. Um
They know it. I think they know that they're a lot cooler than the rest of us.
that's true. Evan's mom has said for years that I'm his long lost twin brother, that she thinks we look identical.
Is this your like subtle way of saying how cool you are too?
Hey, I'll take it.
you're lumping yourself in with the Delagranges.
Yes.
It's a lot of us, so you could be related somewhere.
Nobody would notice.
It would be fine.
You know,
Um,
I do recall when we first started at the church, I didn't know Janelle at all, but I would just see her occasionally at church walking by, and then I connected with her on Facebook, and I was like, man, she is so cool. I don't know if like I'm cool enough to be her friend. And then like eventually I was like, okay, I'm gonna message her and be like, can we be like actual friends? So that's kind of how
Is
our
that-
friendship formed. And she helped me be even cooler than I already was. So it worked out really well.
Oh, you're so nice.
You are really nice.
I think that you're just as cool as I am.
Thank you. Because I'm friends with you. That's the way it works.
Janelle, can you confirm that it was that creepy from Sarah's end?
No, that's not creepy. I mean,
Hey.
considering Evan and I started talking on Facebook, that's where we started our communication. When we
And
first-
Special.
I love that you guys share that memory every year, and it just reminds the world and makes me laugh every time.
It's the one good thing that Facebook has done ever. So that's good.
Facebook made a match and didn't tear people apart.
Look at that. Well, not yet. Well,
Not yet. Cool.
I think we
So-
need to put it to a vote. Which one is creepier, of if you getting set up with Evan by Vi because she thought you guys were long lost twin brothers, or me reaching out to Janelle on Facebook? I think mine is a little bit less creepy.
I thought you
than
were
yours.
talking. I thought you were talking about Evan and Janelle getting set up by Evan's
Oh.
mom.
No, you and Evan as twin brothers.
I don't know. Well, let's move on. I think a good place to start would just be for Evan and Janelle to tell everybody who you guys are, a little bit about yourselves, what you guys do. Tell us about your kids, all that stuff.
Okay. Oh, I get to go. Okay. Well, I'm Evan, and I'm just a guy who lives in Indiana. Nothing really special. I've gone to Central my entire life, so that's the connection there, obviously.
Yeah. So Central is the church we served at for the past 6.5 years before we moved to Atlanta.
Yes. So I have video of myself being dedicated in that church, and almost 28 years later, still in the same place. So that's that.
Cool.
I don't. My job, yes. I'm a graphic designer, a freelance designer, so I get to sit at home with my lovely wife and our mostly wonderful children all day.
Mostly wonderful.
Always wonderful, not always delightful. Maybe that's
Ooh,
what it.
it's good.
But yeah, I do design work for. So far, it's worked out to be mostly small to medium-sized clients. I've done some work for the church, and we'll be doing more work for the church, so that's exciting.
Cool. Yeah, you designed like every graphic that we did when we were at Central, whether it was logos or T-shirts or.
Tried to get my hands on it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's difficult sometimes to get people to see the value of what I do. So I was always appreciative when I had support within the power structures of the church, people vouching for me to let me work my magic or whatever. So anyways,
I think you've definitely earned your spot too, because the work that you did for us while we were there was awesome. Love it. So we're going to also put in the show notes Evan's link to his website so that you guys can check it out and hire him.
Yes.
And now.
I need to hurry up and finish updating it then.
Hey, can you get your website updated right now?
It's basically ready to go. I'm just being lazy on a few things. So
Well, good motivation to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's this gonna air? I gotta get on that.
We'll make sure to tell you so that our moms and grandmas can check it out.
Yeah.
I'll do some like family reunion graphics for you guys or something.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
All right.
So go for it, Janelle.
I'm Janelle. Evan and I have been married for almost 8 years. We have 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 girl.
And that gives Sarah hope.
It does. It does.
If you're willing to risk it.
That is so true. Everybody asks me, like, are you gonna try for a girl? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm tired.
We just got lucky, to be honest. I mean, God obviously had a hand in it, but still.
We
Yes.
resigned ourselves to all boys. So
Yeah.
once we found out it was a girl, it was like a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Like
And
that
an explosion of bows and pink and
Yeah.
sparkles. Yes.
Right. Yes. Anyways, I am a freelance copywriter. So I get to help people and companies and nonprofits write their stories. And it's a really fun job that I never thought I would be able to do, but somebody saw something in me. So they took a chance, and here I am 3 years later doing that still. And I am also in school for ministry leadership at Moody Bible Institute online.
Yeah.
Started that.
It's so awesome.
Yeah. It's been crazy and time consuming and a lot of wondering why I'm doing it. Yeah, but it's been good. So that's about me.
Janelle,
honestly,
sorry, go ahead.
It's very attractive to me how scholarly she is and how smart she is and all this stuff. So I'm just gonna plug that in there. So
I love it. I love it.
so it's
Janelle-
crazy, but it's also awesome and wonderful and exciting.
There you go.
I love that you guys are doing it together
Mhm. Yeah, it's fun.
and supporting each other and stuff. And Janelle, your story with, just feeling like you needed to go back to school. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah. So I went to college after high school for a semester and I hated it. And so I quit and we got married soon after. We got married when we were 20. So we started having kids right away. And I never considered going back to college because I was terrified and because the first time was terrible and I didn't want to try.
College is hard enough without kids, let alone having kids and going to college.
Very true.
And having more money too.
That's true.
Exactly.
But this summer, I started thinking about it and entertaining the idea of going back and focusing on ministry and specifically women's ministry. But I didn't even want to tell Evan about it. I was thinking about it for weeks and I started the application and I was writing like application essays and I hadn't told Evan about it because I was like, if I tell him, he's going to tell me to do it. Because I was really scared to do something that I had 4 kids. I was trying to work. My husband was trying to work. It just didn't seem like a really good idea at all. And then I told him about it. And of course he was like, well, of course you have to do it. And I was like, no, I don't.
You're supposed to discourage me from doing it.
She sat me down for a big revelation. She's like, okay, so I've been thinking about going back to college and I've started an application. I was like, okay.
I remember you telling me that. You're like,
Yeah.
she thought it was going to be this huge deal. And I was like, duh, why not?
I was like, we'll figure out the details because nothing about our life or our marriage has been by the books or the way you're supposed to do things really. And so it was just another thing like, okay, yeah, if that's what we're supposed to do, then what? We're just going to do it then. It's whatever. We'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that's one of my favorite things about you guys and why you stand out to me so much because of your boldness and just your confidence to say, if this is where God's taken us, this is where we're going.
Mhm.
And we see that over and over in your guys' story. Evan, when you broke off and did the business on your own, can you guys share a little bit of how that came about and what that looks like now?
It wasn't so much me breaking off and going my own as it was me getting broken off because
Oh.
my company laid me off and then they filed for bankruptcy and a few years later went out of business. So I was kind
Sad
of
day.
sinking ship.
I didn't know the rest of that story. I didn't know they went out of business.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I guess people who are listening probably won't know who I work for, but they were not always the greatest business people, and so things started going downhill, and they had disputes with the IRS and all this stuff. So I kind of knew in advance. They told us, like, they sat everybody down and said, we're doing this, and everybody's jobs are safe. And then a couple days after, my boss called me and was like, you're probably going to lose your job. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I just had to go back to work like everything was normal. And
Wow.
2 weeks after that, he came in while I was eating lunch. It was on a Friday, so that was all right. He's like, yeah, sorry, we got to let you go. So he wasn't mean about it or anything, but so I said, can I just go home then? I'm like, I'm not going to stay here and finish out the day, like the last 2 hours of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go. And so I went home, and over the weekend, we had to decide what the heck we were going to do. So we had like a little bit of advance warning, and I could kind of look around for other jobs, but it's difficult with my profession because it's not a super common job, especially not around here. Like Midwest, you know, there's like corn, and then there's factories and, you know, a few other things. So it's not, and not everybody is jonesing for a graphic designer, and specifically one who likes to do creative things and not like lay out catalogs. We kind of talked about it a little bit, and then that Sunday, Troy, who he used to be the youth pastor before JB came along, he was preaching, and he talked about stepping out of the boat in faith and just, you know, taking a leap and doing what you feel like you're supposed to do. I'm like, well, I always kind of wanted to in the future be a freelancer, of course, with the idea being that I would have clients before I, you know, lost the job. But yeah, so we kind of decided. I was still half-heartedly looking for jobs, but like that first Monday when I woke up and I didn't have to go to work, and I could wear shorts and then just walk across the hall to, well, it's not an office now, but I was like, okay, I can't go back to being a normal job where I have to wear like a button down and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it was terrifying, and you had a different perspective on it being terrifying.
Yeah.
From my end, I was freaking out because I have to provide for my family and I have to find jobs out of nowhere, basically. So the short of it is that the early years, and still sometimes now, it's terrifying. But yeah, I just had to put my head down and keep grinding away at what I had. And there was a lot of like freaking out, paying bills at the last minute, hoping that God would pay for something for us. Like, and he always came through. So that's the really short version. I guess we can get into more details later. But,
Yeah. I remember one specific time when we didn't know how we were going to pay the bills, and I was crying in the bathroom. I just found out we were pregnant with our third, and
1 month after I lost my job.
1 month after, yeah.
Oh.
I was terrified, and I was thinking about our kids sleeping in the other room, and how I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We just can't. This is not gonna work. And I was kneeling in front of the bathtub, and I was praying, and I don't remember what I said, but that was a lot of how we lived the first year of freelance life. It was terrifying, and somehow God provided every penny we ever needed. We never went into debt over it. Every bill was paid for. I mean, but it was really scary, but God was really faithful, and he really showed up for us in the fact that we were obedient in what we were doing. He showed up for us in a lot of ways and was really affirming.
I feel like you can't go through a season like that without it radically changing your faith. Would you agree with that?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that push you guys?
Just learning to trust. And it was kind of, I mean, obviously looking back at the timing was all perfect anyways, but it was early in our marriage and early in our like official adult lives. And so we didn't really have, I worked for the printing company for 3 years. And so we had some experience with, you know, quote, stability. It wasn't a super high-paying job, but I had insurance and I had regular paychecks, and times were tight, but it wasn't, you know, awful. But I think getting thrown into something like that early in life and in marriage and in parenthood and all that kind of stuff, I think it maybe matured us more quickly than we would have otherwise. And parenthood does that too anyways. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
We had to figure out what our faith was going to look like really fast because, you know, we were 20 when we got married. So we were 23 when that happened ish. So that's not, I mean, you're still kind of figuring your life out and still figuring out what your faith is going to look like from high school or college. I only briefly attended college, so I didn't have any wild experiences off away from home. I lived at home. So yeah, we just had to really lean into actually trusting God and not just, I have a nice job and I trust that God will make things okay. You know, like not a wishy-washy kind of trust, but like falling on your knees in the office and crying because you don't know where money is going to come from. Like,
And that definitely happened frequently for us. I remember I would go into his office and we would pray together all the time because I would lay it out for him, like, this is the bill that needs to be paid this week, and I don't know how we're going to do that. And so we would just pray about it. And I would say that, like, that was really bold. I don't know what we were thinking, because now those kind of prayers, we don't pray those kind of prayers because we don't need them as frequently. The paychecks come more consistently. We have a lot more stable income compared to how it used to be, but that definitely taught us a lot about how good and faithful God is and how much we needed to trust him.
I feel like you talked about the sermon of like stepping out of the boat. It's almost like God pushed you out of the boat and then like gave you that sermon and it was like, see,
Yeah.
I told you.
We're on our way down to the water. It's like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if that had happened later in our lives or later in our marriage and career or whatever, if things would have been different because we had more time to well, window popped up. We had more time to be, you know, comfortable and more time to build up our savings or more time for me to find clients. I don't think our faith would have been as, I don't want to say radical because that has certain connotations, but if our faith would have been as radical as it had to be at the time because we were so young and naive and inexperienced with everything that has to do with business and adulting or whatever. So
Yeah. It seems like a lot of people that like get into a situation like you guys were in would just kind of give up on, you know, their dream, their passion, like the things you guys wanted to do. They'd be like, well, I have to pay the bills, so I'm going to go, you know, get whatever job is available, a factory job or, you know, whatever it might be. What was it that kept you guys going and pursuing the things that you wanted to pursue?
I think if I can answer for Evan, I think when he had his other job, he spent a lot of time away from us. And that's not a bad thing. I think some people are suited for that. Like, that's what they choose. But once he was home with us and was able to be part of our family more and watch our kids grow up, like, that kind of motivates you to realize that there's more to life than having a really great job. And I wanted him to be happy, and he was not happy at his other job. He was really unsatisfied, and it was fine because it paid the bills. But this new adventure that we were taking was exciting. It was invigorating, and I think it it motivated us to work really hard. I don't know that we are reaping a lot of rewards from all that work yet, but I do think that he worked really hard to get where he is now, and I don't know that any other job would be as satisfying as it is to do what he loves and is passionate about. And,
Yeah.
I think for you guys, especially getting married young, and Jonathan and I got married young too, and the financial troubles at the beginning, that can be something that can just devastate a marriage. But yet for you guys, it seemed like it pulled you closer when you didn't have the money, when you have bills laying in front of you and you're praying together. Would you say that's true, that it pulled you guys together to go through that?
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds weird, but it's not something you think about in the moment. It's not like,
Right.
"Ooh, this financial crisis is really bonding us in marriage."
We love it.
You just don't think about it in those terms. I would say it probably did. And we're relatively easygoing anyways, so we don't argue or fight a lot, and especially not about money. And maybe I don't know if that's something we really strove for. Like, we're not going to fight about money. We're not going to make this thing. But I think our personalities lend itself well to that. Like,
Yeah.
we know things will be okay, and we can be chill about it. And okay, I guess something I always kept in mind. So when I went to propose to Janelle, we were going to a music festival, and one of my favorite musicians was going to be there, Aaron Gillespie. He's the drummer for Under Oath, if anybody listening knows who Under Oath is. But he was doing solo stuff, and I was like, he's going to be there, and I can email him and be like, dude, will you help me propose? And I emailed him, and he had all these questions for me, because he's like, I'm not going to put myself in this if it's going to fail or whatever.
Are you 100% sure she's going to say yes?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He legit sent me a list of questions, like, do you have this figured out? Do you have this figured out? Are you going to be able to provide? And one thing he said was,
It's
"Are
like
you
you're
gonna be
meeting
able
with
to
her
provide for me?"
dad.
Yeah. Except it was somebody I respect, and he ultimately turned me. Jeff, listening, I do respect him.
this really took a turn.
I'm trying to tell a really great story about a musician I care about.
All right. We can regroup. You can rephrase that.
He said he would.
I'm not over it.
He is somebody I respect. Anyways, he said, I've seen couples fight over money, and it gets really ugly. And it wasn't like he gave me some big wonderful quote or some sage advice, but I always remembered that, and I don't really know why. Maybe because I didn't have I worked at Menards at the time, so it wasn't like raking in the dough, and it just stuck with me, and I kind of thought about it. So we never really did fight over money, and we would have disagreements if we did something stupid or whatever. But
Right.
that was just something I guess I always had in the back of my mind, like, I can't let this become a thing, because our marriage is more important than how much money we have, I guess. So that's a roundabout way to say, yes, I did bring us together, but not consciously. We just had a silent agreement to focus on other things besides that. So.
Yeah.
I wish our listeners could. I mean, most of them might already know you guys, but if not, just getting to watch your life and to see you do what you do and to be these risk takers. And yeah, I think you are laid back. And then on the other hand, you're these very bold risk takers and stuff. And it's just super cool to watch that. And you guys are a blessing to the people around you, especially in regards to your faith. And even though you guys seem to be the younger ones in the group most of the time, where you hang out with all these old people, but I do think it's because of your maturity and all of that. And it's just a privilege. I would encourage anybody, like, for if you want to know these guys better, to look out on social media for them. Janelle has this amazing blog that's one of my favorites that you will love. Janelle, can you tell us where it is, where we can find you?
I haven't written on it. Well, I guess I did recently, but I don't update it as frequently as I used to. But it's Janelle.
It's not like you're in school or something.
Or have 4 kids.
It's JanelleDelagrange.com.
There you go.
Yeah, it's called Soul Strings, and maybe it's not anymore. I don't know. I don't know if I've changed it. But it's there still.
I've made 3 different logos for her, and I think we're still on the second old one that I made a long time ago. So we
Well, hey,
updating that.
whatever works.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Janelle, you and I got to have a phone call. I don't know, when was that? Was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so.
And you were kind of sharing with me something that God's put on your guys' heart this year, a specific word, I think. Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah.
Is that too personal?
No, it's not too personal. I think it's definitely related to the conversation we're already having.
Yes.
Cool.
The word is generous. And we noticed this past year was really great for us. Very comfortable, financially stable, feeling like we were not scraping by, paying bills with pennies. We really felt like real adults and that we had control over some things in our life. But we were very, we kept a close hands on a lot of our things and a lot of our time. And we realized that we felt like we hadn't really grown in a lot of ways. And we decided that this year we wanted to be as generous as possible in more ways than one, not just with our money, but with our time and our resources and our home and our knowledge and our wisdom, just things that we can give away to people that we have not been giving away. So that's our hope for this year. We're still working on it.
It's only February, so you've got time.
That's true.
And
It's funny sitting on this side of it, like knowing you guys, like some of the things we've already talked about, but then like you guys have served in the middle school ministry at the church. Like you've went on mission trips, and like Janelle, you lead a women's group rally, or you did. I don't know if that's still a thing, but like you guys are doing all these things that are very generous of your time already. And then just to know that you guys are like, what are we doing with our lives? Like, we're not even, we gotta be more generous with our lives. And I'm like, dude, you guys are way more generous than I am.
I know, I'm sitting over here feeling guilty. Like, okay, what do I need to sign up for?
Right.
I think it's more than like what we're already doing. It's a lot of it is just the intentionality of it too. Like we're doing those things, but being more, just being more intentional about it, and really, instead of just coasting and keeping things on a even keel, which is good in some regards, we want to just try to do better at it. So like, I teach a class on Sunday mornings, but we just discussed tonight how we can make it a little more engaging. Like I told her what I wanted to talk about. It's just like, how can we make this more exciting for them? I was like, yeah, I can sometimes tend to lecture too much. So like, just looking for ways that we can be better at what we're doing, and then doing more too, like she said.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to go on a tangent. I would love to know, what are you guys talking about teaching?
Discipleship.
Yeah.
And let's clarify first, you're teaching who and like where and what, all that.
Yeah, it's the junior high students on Sunday mornings.
7th and 8th graders.
Yes.
Specifically.
Okay, so 7th and 8th graders, and you're teaching about discipleship.
Yes. So I wanted to try to find a way to engage them a little bit. And we had a discussion after the fact, but I was like, okay, what are we disciples of in our life? Like, you hear disciple and you think of 12 holy guys, and you're like, okay, disciples are great, whatever. But like, we can be disciples ourselves, and we can be disciples of more than just faith. Like, we can be a disciple of a sport or of art and design. It's something that you you devote a lot of your time to it. You want to be better at it. It's something that you want to tell other people about or get people excited about. So I wanted to ask them what they were disciples of in their lives, and if they were trying to be disciples of Christ, or if they were just focusing on other things. And Janelle's like, yeah, that's great, and that's fine. But like, what can we?
But I was like, that's a lot of talking. They're gonna get bored. So we should.
Guys, I feel like we've had with different situations, it's always like, hey, I've got this idea, and Sarah's like, yeah, but how can we make it better?
Hey, it's both ways.
That's well, I mean, yeah, that's why we married each other.
Right.
She knows the things that I don't, and we, fill in the gaps. She can see things.
She completes you.
She does.
Aw, that's so sweet.
We need that Instagram filter that zooms in with the hearts.
Yeah.
I will find it. Yeah.
But yeah, we sat and thought for a little bit. I was like, okay, well, what if I saw there was this magician guy on Netflix, the guy who originally did the prank they see in AFB where they make little kids think they disappeared.
Yes, that's a good one.
So
That's horrible.
So funny.
He did it to adults.
It made me cry when I watched it.
Listen, that is why I have a job. Actually, I don't even have a job, but that's why there's a field. P.S. Anyone
Seems
listening,
like you're in high demand.
I need a job. Anyways, don't traumatize your children. Anyways, Evan,
Hold on.
go on.
Hold on. You got me thinking about this like disappearing thing. Did you see the one where the like adult guy walks into like the whole class of actors like in a park and he sits down and they make him think that he's disappeared and like freaking out?
That's the original guy who did it.
Okay.
He has a show on Netflix, and that's he's the first one who did that prank. That's where people got the idea. So
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but he did something else that wasn't so cool. He went to an art school and he had like, I don't know, 6 people line up, all facing the same direction, like one in front of the other. And he had one person in the back had a picture, and they were to draw it on the other person's back in front of them, and then that person would feel what they were drawing and try to translate it. So it's like kind of like telephone or telepictionary.
Yeah.
Somebody, and then it got to him at the very end, the magician, and he had a really mangled drawing, but then he was able to figure out what it was, and it was a big trick. But I was like, okay, we can use that same principle. We can have a couple of them line up and draw a picture on a piece of paper. I'm not gonna take their shirts off.
It's probably good.
That would get you arrested.
And then have one person up against the whiteboard at the end of the train, drawing what it came out to be. And be like, okay, so we're supposed to be disciples. And we talked about what disciples look like. You can be disciples of things, but you also need to be a disciple to other people. Like you need to be actively discipling. And it doesn't have to be like a mentoring relationship, but just living that out for people. And if we are all trying to disciple the next person in line and trying to do this without having the original source, it's going to get mangled. So all these people are trying to draw this one thing, it's going to get mangled at the end. But if we all have that discipling relationship with Jesus already, we all have the original picture, so to speak, our drawing is going to be more accurate to begin with. So
That's
So
so
good.
good.
that's how.
Goodness sakes.
And she said, "Aren't you going to write this down?" I was like, "No, I just thought of it. It's all up here."
It's all up here.
Yeah, forget it.
I'm gonna.
That is so good.
I'm stealing
love-
that.
Write it down. I love anything that pushes students to have a direct encounter or a direct connection with God, because I think a lot of times they know God through someone else. And if you think about that in real life, when you meet someone secondhand, like if somebody's like, oh, this person so and so and so, like you don't know anything about them, if they've just told you. But if you've met them, it's a whole different thing. I think that's so cool, Evan. And yes, we will be stealing that from you.
For sure.
I'm glad I could be of help. That's exciting. Fun lesson talking about what they like in their life, but they'll be like, I like sports, and then they want to talk about like Fortnite or something. So this is a better way to keep them engaged and keep them on target. So
Yeah, middle schoolers make you work for it, for sure.
Yep.
Janelle was gone for a while because we had our 4th child, and so she took basically a year off because trying to get 4 kids ready in the morning and get them all to church at the same time is just too much. But the 2 weeks, or was last week the first week? The last 2 weeks, she's come back to class with me, and so that's exciting that we're tag teaming these kids now. She like I can yell at them and be like, hey, be quiet, and they'll kind of listen. But she like went off on something. Not went off. She like didn't take any crap from somebody, and he just shut up right away. I was like, yes, thank you.
When
The
we're
mama
not
bear
recording, you can
is-
tell me who that is.
Was it Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. He is proudly like badged himself as trouble. Like, I know what you're doing. I'm not stupid. You're not really trouble. You just want to have that perception. But
That's funny.
So he's got to make his mark somehow, right?
That's right.
Yeah, middle schoolers. Love them.
They are fun.
Yeah. I feel like we could probably talk forever with you guys because we love you so much. And it's just cool to get to connect. I'm thankful for technology and getting to have this conversation for sure. I have one last question for you, unless Jonathan, do you have anything else that you want to talk to them about?
I don't think so. I mean, like you said, we could.
Right? Right. I know both of you are very connected with God and just always communicating with him and growing in that way. And I know you're not perfect, but what's on your heart right now that you feel like God is calling you to go and do? Is there anything specific that comes to mind?
I have to think about this.
I guess beyond the generosity, that's kind of what our conversation distilled down to, was generosity when we were talking about this here. But we just wanted to better ourselves in whatever way we could. Like Janelle mentioned, we kind of felt like last year was good, but we kind of plateaued. Like things were on an even keel for once, and so we just hunkered down and we did our things, and then we came back home and we stayed there, and it was and we, like, even at home we didn't exercise anymore, and we didn't I mean, there's just a lot of things we kind of let fall by the wayside, so we're just trying to better ourselves in lots of ways, like exercising more, being more more in tune with what our budget is doing, because it's kind of impossible to plan for. So I don't know if we're really like have any maybe you have something. I don't know if there's anything we're really going and pursuing, but we just want to be more open to whatever comes our way. It's kind of with generosity, we want our hands to be open, so we're giving whatever we have, but we're also ready to take on whatever comes our way. So if we're improving in business, maybe new opportunities will come for the both of us. And if we're more generous with our time, with our resources, and with our home, or with whatever, maybe we'll make new relationships and we'll have other people in our life, or whatever the case is. So I don't know if that's one big thing.
I know that we're doing a Bible study, a Beth Moore study right now, and with the women's Bible study at church. And one of the things that stuck out to me was she pointed out that peace with God is not just like a pond that's sitting with the water still. In the Bible, it talks about how the peace is like a river and that it's flowing. And that if it's like a river, then that means that it's constantly moving, that there's a source at the end and at the beginning, and that it isn't like a pond, like we would think, like that peace and stillness is not the same thing necessarily. And when I heard that, I was really convicted, because I've entered the busiest season of my life, hands down. I'm doing more than I ever have in my entire life, and I have more commitments than I've ever had. But I think that it's made both of us aware and more conscious of what we're devoting our time and ourselves to, because if I'm devoting time to school and my kids and my husband and to ministry and to women and all those things, then I still have time left at the end of the day to sit on the couch and watch Netflix and look at my phone for 2 hours and scroll, then that means that I still have time, that I still have things that I can do. That it doesn't mean that peace needs to be sitting like a pond that's doing nothing. It means that I can still be moving, because God is still giving me strength. He's still giving me energy, or he's giving me whatever I need to do what I have to do. And I think that has really changed my focus, the way that I think about things and the way that I want to spend my time. I know that we just want to be more aware. And I think that that's where generosity comes from, because we realize that we have a lot and we have a lot we can do, and we can still do more. So why wouldn't we? So we're gonna do it. And that seems maybe counterintuitive to our life and the way that our family is and the way that our jobs are. But I mean, what else are we gonna do? Just watch Netflix? I mean, that does sound great, but that seems like a waste of time at the end of the day. I don't want to be laying on my deathbed thinking, man, I wish I would have watched more Netflix. You know, that
There's
nobody's
so many shows we could have missed out
gonna
on.
think that. So I think that that's what I feel like I need to go and do is restructure the way I think about those things and do more on purpose and not just do it because somebody told me I had to or the Bible says that this is what's expected, but because I want those things.
I love
That's
it.
cool.
It's exciting to hear you guys talk about that and how both of the things that you brought up kind of weave together and just sound like a lot of God preparing you for even more. You know, when you're faithful with little, He's going to bless you with more responsibilities. He's going to trust you with more. And I'm just excited to see how this story plays out and you guys and your faith and all of that. That's exactly what I hear when you were talking, that God's really like preparing you and getting you ready for all that He has in store for you. So yes. So we're gonna wrap up. Guys, thank you for being on the show with us. We love you a whole lot.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you sitting in your garage in 43-degree weather.
What's the temperature up to now? Can we have an update?
We turned it up. 42.
It's 42.
Oh, it's gotten colder.
Well,
Oh
wait,
no.
it's fine. I have my winter coat on, so.
Oh,
Dude,
we love you
Thank
forever.
you for the dedication.
Back here, so
There's blankets and winter coats and space heaters and everything.
and a fresh garage door we just finished putting in, so that helps insulate.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
Yeah,
You're
Well-
such a handyman.
Evan is a handyman.
That's one unexplored aspect of our conversation. I've had to learn how to do a lot of stuff because we can't pay other people to do it. So
There you go. All right, well, we'll let you guys off of here. I think we're probably going to go watch Netflix and waste our lives with the rest of the night.
That's true. We're trying to get through The Office, and it just sucks us in.
Oh man, we're watching The Americans. Feel very.
It's about Russian spies.
Ooh. Is
See,
it
that
good?
still sounds more productive than what we're doing.
It
That's
is.
true.
Hey, The Office is always good.
I
You don't need to
I
condemn
love
yourself.
The Office.
It's super funny. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We enjoyed chatting with you. Let's do it again.
Guys, wasn't that amazing? Evan and Janelle, they delivered.
Like the mailman.
Like the mailman. I told you, they are adventurous, they're bold, they're generous, they are this amazing couple, and I'm so glad that we got to share them with you.
Yeah. We just really enjoyed recording that episode. So hopefully we can get some more of our friends on here because these last two episodes have been really fun to
It was
record with friends.
Awesome to have Miriam and to hear where she's at, and then to get to hear from Evan and Janelle. So what you guys can do for us, if you're willing, we would love for you to rate and review our podcast. And then if you would share it, share it on social media, but share it with your people. We would super appreciate it. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and we will talk to you soon.
When the storm will